guys, my name's Megan. Welcome to my channel. On my channel, I compare books I've read to their movie or TV show adaptation, basically whatever on-screen adaptation they have. If you notice, I'm in a different setting than usual. I am in the process of turning this room in my house into kind of my home office / library, so I'm super excited. It was my mom's room and she passed away over summer, so I'm just excited to turn it into something positive and something I can get some use out of. So I've got a lot of work to do still, got a lot of books to bring in, got stuff to clear off the shelves that isn't mine, but I'm super excited. So I decided to take a break and talk about All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, right? Niven? However you say her name, Niven. Okay, so before I start, I'm going to do this video a little bit differently than usual. Usually I just start out by kind of nitpicking every small detail. And this time I'm just going to look at the big picture first and then go through some of the smaller details that I saw. So one of the big changes that the Netflix adaptation made, it came out Friday, by the way, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And of course, spoilers ahead. But one of the bigger changes is that Finch's family was not as big of a role. His mom wasn't in the movie at all. Deco was not a character, and then his dad and that whole side of the family was not in it at all either. So that made a really different story and a more interesting dynamic. Well, I wouldn't say different story per se, but they left out a lot of him. And then just kind of on that note, nothing against the actor who played Finch. I don't know his name off the top of my head. I should have typed it down. Nothing against him. I just don't feel like he was right for Finch. Or maybe it was the way the script was written. But I feel like he did not have the energy that I felt in the book. Finch is bipolar. And through most of the book, and therefore most of the movie, he is in his manic side. Because it alternates kind of between manic and depression. Please correct me if I'm using the wrong phrases. I'm very new to bipolarism, so please let me know if I'm not explaining this right. But basically, he's manic for most of the book, which means he's very high energy, like he feels like he's on top of the world, he feels like he can do anything, and you very much get this from the book. He's running all over the place, like he's just full of life and full of energy, and I don't see that at all in the movie. It showed him jogging one morning, and I feel like just the rest of the time he was very calm and laid back, and like, yeah, sure, he had good ideas and he wanted to go on adventures and stuff, but even how he talked, it was just very like soothing, which isn't what I expected from Finch. I just expected him to be more wild and carefree and like, woo, but he was just like, yeah. So I didn't like the representation of Finch at all. It makes me so sad. Yeah, I think those are the big changes from the book to the movie. But if I think of more while I do the nitpicky stuff, I'll let you know. Okay, so in the book, they meet where they're both at the school bell tower, and he's standing on the ledge, and she's standing on the ledge, and he kind of talks him down. In the movie, she's standing on the ledge of a bridge, and he is not standing on the ledge of the bridge. He is just jogging by. And then he helps her down, but then there's no school drama, and like, of her saving him, like the whole school thought she saved him from jumping off the ledge in the book. So there was none of that because of that. Here I just wrote that I was surprised that Keegan-Michael Key and Luke Wilson, they pulled in some big guns for this movie. Okay. And then, so in the book, when she comes into class, she like drops some of her stuff, and then what he does to draw the attention to him and away from her because she feels awkward, he drops some of his book, and then he like acts like he fell out of his chair. In the movie, he literally just stood up and like flipped his desk. I was like, okay. I liked the book version better. Like, that was just awkward. I don't know. And then I was also mad because in the book, like, he says out loud in front of the whole class, I want Violet Markey to be my partner. And then she's mad because she's like, I was trying to get out of this project. But he doesn't do it in front of the whole class. He doesn't call her out like that. He just does it in the hallway, which I feel like that was one way it dampened his personality. He just asked her, hey, I want to be your partner. And she's like, my parents are going to get me out of it. And then her parents couldn't. But then she wasn't, like, mad at him for making her do the project. Does that make sense? Then I was kind of confused why she dressed like a grandma. They didn't really mention how she dressed in the book, but, like, I get the glasses. They were her sisters. But, like, everything else she wore was just grandma-ish, and I didn't get it. Like, maybe y'all liked it. Maybe y'all thought it was cute, but I was over it. They changed Facebook to Instagram, which makes sense, you know, trying to be hip with the times. He made a little video singing to her, seeing if she was still alive. And then some of their messages they did on Facebook were changed. Instead, she called him, because in his Instagram, he's like, ooh, call me, blah, 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 here's my number. So she called him, whereas that that interaction had initially in the book happened in Facebook Messenger. I'm mad that they cut out Finch's rules for wandering and they just jumped right into her one rule, which is no cars. And I was like, okay. Then this was like halfway through the movie, maybe less than that. But I said I'm disappointed so far, and I can't really explain why. And I said there's just no energy. Like, I wasn't feeling it. I was kind of bummed. And then Eleanor's room had green walls when she's supposed to have yellow walls, so I was mad because that's a simple fix. Before I die, Finch wrote stay awake, which is not what he wrote in the book, and like she doesn't even know what that means, and like I don't know, stay awake. And then he gave her a rock that says your turn in the book. And in the movie, he says that the rock means it's time for her to get back out there and start living life, and he needs to not be pushing her. I'm like, when does it mean all that? It just means it's her turn. But okay. And then Alex Cross in the book was like her ex-boo, and he was friends with this jerk Romer. But in the movie, Alex Cross doesn't exist, and Romer, I think, was her ex-boo. Or Romer was just, I don't know. Romer's still a jerk, though. I was bummed, too, because her parents helped convince her to get in the car, when in the book it was just Finch who convinced her, which I feel like made their bond more powerful. But in the movie, it was all three of them convincing her, and I was just like, oh, that's lame. It, like, takes away their connection, because now it's the parents, too. And then in the car, I'm so mad. So in the car, she just talks about the accident with no prompting. She's like freaking out in the car, where in the book, she's like brave. She's like, go as fast as you want, like kind of daring him, like, I can handle this. But in the movie, she's like a wimp. I was so mad. I was like, why is she like crying? Like, this is not her. Like, I get that she's sad. I get that it's traumatic being in the car. But in the book, she didn't want him to see her that way. And then their first wandering or whatever, second, whatever, they were already at the dang roller coaster. And to be honest, I'm impressed they included it at all. I was hoping I would get to see it, but they just skipped so much. And then she gets on the roller coaster right after him, where in the book she's like, no, you go again, because she was a little nervous. Like, it's some rickety thing, but I guess she got balls, or can I say that? She got brave. Even though she was just a wimp in the car, so it doesn't make sense. And then they changed the, you know what I like about you. Like, that scene was cute in the book. In the movie, she's just like, you're my friend. And he's like, you know what I like about you? You're all the colors in one. Full brightness or whatever. But in the book, she's like, you know what I like about you? You always like say what you're thinking, or something like that. Don't quote me. I'm not finding the quote. And then he says, you know what I like about you? Everything. So sweet. That's way better. I don't understand, like, you're all the colors of the rainbow at full brightness. I don't understand that, because she's literally so dull. Anyway. And then the first kiss was kind of a bummer, too. Like, he didn't say anything leading up to it. And I liked that part in the book. He's like, I just can't wait anymore. And it was just so sweet and pure. And in the movie, he didn't say anything. He just, like, kissed her. I'm like, He just said, you're all the colors all together. Then he pulled over and walked around. She got out of the car. In the book, he, like, pulled her out of the car and was like, I can't wait anymore. I'm like, yes. And then they went to see the shoe tree together, where if you read the book, that happens when she's on her own after he leaves and he goes to it, and then he gives her clues to go do it by herself, but they just go see it together because they don't see the bookmobile park. They don't see any of their wonders that they actually saw together. So pretty bogus. They cut out like the Purina Tower. They cut out a lot of the Wanderers and then put that one in the wrong place. Okay, maybe it's because that was an easy one or something. They're like, yeah, let's put a bunch of shoes on a tree and call it a day. After spending all their budget on the freaking roller coaster, I guess. Then there was a van full of flowers, which, I mean, at one point in the book, he did get her like a bucket full of flowers. So I'll give him that, whatever. Not at that point, but whatever. And then he asked her what her biggest fear is. And Violet said she's afraid of being ordinary. That's not what she said in the book, first of all. And second of all, she's afraid of being ordinary, but she's the most boring movie character I've ever seen. Y'all need to watch this movie if you haven't. She's so dull. There's nothing to like about her. Like, if I was a dude, I'd be like, next, you don't even talk. Like, she's so boring. So yeah, I guess you're not ordinary. You're less than ordinary. You're boring. And then she asked him what he was most afraid of, and he said, losing my sister. Lies. In the book, he says nothing. Even if, like, that is his biggest fear, like, in the book, he says nothing because he feels invincible at the moment. He is manic. And then I was just griping again that they've omitted so many scenes from the book, man. And now he's... When it finally got to the point where he's painting his room blue, he paints over the dang Post-it notes. I was like, what is this boy doing? And then, oh God, he stopped halfway through, not even halfway through. There's just a blue blob on his wall. And then he stops. Make it stop. Make it stop. In the book, he painted the whole thing blue, even the ceiling blue. Okay, so what's this little section that's blue on top of Post-it notes? No, he cleared all the notes down. It said so specifically. Read the book, directors and screenwriters. Read the dang book. I don't know why y'all would make this boy paint over Post-it notes. Who in their right mind would ever paint? I get that he might not be in his right mind, but even he knows not to paint over Post-it notes, and I stand by that. I stand by that. His conversation trying to explain his inner emotions and turmoil and his mania and depression. He was trying to explain that to Violet, and it was just like different than the book. I don't know. He like got mad at her for a different reason. It was just weird. And then I was very disappointed in the movie because Violet never once asked her parents for help, never expressed concern for Finch, and neither did Amanda. And I'm so bummed because those were like very redeeming qualities in them in the book, that they recognize a mental illness and they went for help and they were going to reach out to a psychiatrist. And then, like, that was the right thing to do. And the fact that no one in this book wanted to get, or in the movie wanted to get help, I was so disappointed. Like, she knew something was up and she did not reach out to anyone. So I'm really bummed that I left that out because I feel like it would have been useful. So I was very sad. The way she discovers where he is in the movie is so, like, it's got nothing to do with Finch's family or his notes. No. In the book, like, she goes to talk to his mom and then she discovers notes and she, like, rearranges them and it's a clue that leads her to him. But no, her dad just says, you guys have been to a lot of places. Maybe he went back. And so she's like, oh, yeah, let me go where we went swimming. And then, yeah. Okay. But yeah, and so I was mad also, I kind of touched on this a second ago, that Amanda didn't like mention to Violet that she saw him at the meeting. That was just kind of dumb. Like, that was nice of Amanda in the book, and then she didn't do it in the movie. And then what about the other wanderings? And then, you know, the ones after he's dead. I feel bad saying that. Spoiler, sorry. She was supposed to do like 4 other wanderings by herself, maybe 5, I don't remember. And she only did one. It was like the lamest one. Sorry, not sorry, but I wanted to see the paintball. Literally, I read this book years ago, and when I picked it up again, all I could remember was the ball of paint. That's literally all I remembered. And then I was confused why Embry was at her classroom presentation, because that doesn't make sense at all. So there are a lot of other things that I hated about this movie, but we're at 15 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up. Shoot, I had one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, so I was reading this book, and I was maybe 2/3 of the way done. I'm like, let me start the movie and I'll stop when I get to the point I get to. So I would watch part of the movie and then I'm like, okay, let me read a few more chapters. And y'all, literally at the end of the book, I'm crying. I'm crying reading these chapters. I'm like, okay, let me stop there and watch this on the movie. And then I just watched a movie like this. No emotion. I did not care at all. And then I hit pause and read more. I'm like, oh my God, Finch and Violet. And then I'd watch the movie and be like, can I be done yet? Like, I did not care about this movie at all. And I'm so mad because y'all know I was looking forward to this. Oh, I'm so mad they did not do it justice. My boy Finch was a dud. My girl Violet was a dud. Ooh, tell me what you thought. Please tell me y'all hated it as much as me. All right. Next week, I think I'm going to do Holes. No. I'm going to do Paper Towns. I read that book, and I feel like I wasn't very into it, and then I don't like the actress Margot Robbie. Sorry. So I never saw the movie. So I'm going to reread the book this week and then watch the movie and let you know. Stay tuned.